polling stations, hinting they will not be a part of the process.
You're welcome to another edition of News Central. I am Kemeni Amano.
And I am Mawena Egbeta. The bulletin starts right now.
Now, the Accra High Court has dismissed an application by Kwabena Eduboahin and 3 others seeking the full disclosures of national security operational accounts from as far back as 1992 to date. Lawyers of Kwabena Eduboahin, led by Samuel Atachia on Thursday, indicated to the court that they had filed a motion for further disclosures on June 23 and prayed to the court to move same since they had already served the Attorney General's office. In the motion filed by the defense lawyers, they are requesting the details of the National Security Coordinator's operational accounts from 1992 to date. Now, this entails the tenures of 5 presidents. The accounts consist of the governments of President Rawlings between 1992 to 2001, the 2 terms of John Ejekum Kufuor from 2001 to 2009, followed by that of Atta Mills from 2009 to 2012, and then the takeover after the death of John Ejekum Kufuor from 2012 to 2017 by John Dramani Mahama, and then Kufuor between 2017 and 2025. He's also asking for the, the 6 months period of John Mahama too to be included in those disclosures. Well, let's bring you a bit more on this story. Lord Iduasare was in court for us. Lord, good afternoon to you. First, let's clarify what the legal basis the High Court used in dismissing this application for full disclosures from as far back as 1992 through John Rawlings, John Ejekum Kufuor, John Atta Mills, John Mahama, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, and John Mahama too.
Right, Kemini. So the presiding judge, Justice Eugene Nyante, he did not disclose anything by way of his reasoning regarding the decision to dismiss that application filed by the lawyers of Eduboahin and the 3 other accused persons. In his concluding statement, after reading the decision, he indicated that the full reason will be available next Monday, and so asked the defense lawyers to apply and then get the trust of it. But can we, a bit of background here. At the last agenda, the lead counsel for Kwabena Eduboahin, Lea Atachia, he indicated that the prosecution had filed disclosures of from 2017 to 2021, that is, or 2022, which is the period or duration of the presidency of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. And so that was the background to which they wanted prosecutors to file all the other disclosures of the National Signals Bureau, National Security operational account. He indicated that it was disingenuous that they would only provide one aspect of it, leaving all the other documents. And so he wanted them to file all those to put things in context for the defense. But they are to find out exactly the reason for which the court dismissed it, because now the judge at the last agenda again indicated that the issues they are raising border on national security. But again, Atacha indicated that he agreed that border on national security, but for the main fact that the prosecution went ahead to file those disclosures, it was important that they file the other documents that they were requesting for. And so the case was adjourned for the trial to begin on July 18th. Now, Atacha, he wasn't very pleased. He was pleaded for a brief adjournment for about a week to be able to peruse the decision of the court and then possibly pray for stay of proceedings or appeal the matter. But then the prosecution led by the Deputy Attorney General, Dr. Justice Ramsay, indicated that that is not even constitutional because it's up to them to file their appeal once the decision of the court is made known to them. They don't have to get an adjournment to be able to do that. And he additionally prayed for an expedited trial, asking for the case or the trial to be heard on a daily basis. Lawyer Tasha was very pleased about it. It got slightly chaotic in court because at that point there was an outburst really saying that he's not going to allow for an ambulance trial, and insisted that the judge was only listening to the side of the prosecution by essentially doing his bidding by giving the ruling when he wasn't, from what he was saying, prepared to give the ruling. He alleged that the prosecution, the judge only gave the ruling after prosecution.
Indeed, let's listen to Samuel Atachia now.
At the last sitting, the judge said he was going to adjourn the case to the 21st of this month so that will give us a reasoned decision. The Attorney General stampeded the judge and they brought it today. The judge could not give us a comprehensive decision so we can fetch our copies and internalize it. The judge actually said the comprehensive decision will be ready Monday. And now we are being stampeded into saying that then we will do the trial in a week's time, when it is very apparent on the record that documents have been taken out from the witness statements. Some of the bank statements, they've cleverly removed some. All the things that should help the accused persons so have a full trial so that they'll be given good time to prepare their case. Are with them. And the judge is saying that the Attorney General should not give the documents to us. So that then how do we go along with the trial? When all the exculpatory evidence will say they should bring it. So this is where we are. The case has been adjourned.
Samuel Atachia is counsel for Embattled's former National Signals Bureau boss, Kwabena Edubuahin. Lord Eduasare is a court correspondent. And Lord, I want us to move on to another story of immense public interest because the Accra Circuit Court convicted evangelist Mama Hat, or Nana Agradaa, as she's popularly known, but by her government name, she's been convicted of charges of charlatanic advertisement and defrauding by false pretenses. Lord, talk to us about the court proceedings today. Was she in court? What were the reactions? What were the reasons of the court?
Right, Kemini. So, Patience Isidua, we know as Agradaa. Now, this case has a number of legs, really. There are about 2 courts hearing the charges against her, because we know that a number of her church members filed these complaints or charges against her. And so 2 courts have been hearing the case concurrently. And so today, the presiding judge, Evelyn Asamoah, she convicted her of the charges which you read earlier. And then because she's a female, usually when this is done, she's supposed to be taken to the hospital, and then they'll do a pregnancy test depending on the results, and then she will finally be sentenced. And so that's what we are waiting for right now. But this case has been ongoing from started in October 2022. It's been going on for quite a long time. She was on bail, about 150,000 cedi bail, and she's been religiously coming to court for the case since it's begun. And so today was supposed to be the final judgment, and then she will be sentenced once we get to know the pregnancy test which she's going to do at the hospital. So that's what we are waiting for, Kenny.
I see. We'll leave it here. Thank you so much for talking to us. Lord Eduasare is our court correspondent who's been telling us that Nana Agradaa has been convicted of the offences she was charged with.
Let's move away from that. And the Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi, has described Ghana as a beacon of inspiration for the entire continent due to its commitment to the rule of law. He also extolled Ghana's first president, Osagyefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. Narendra Modi was addressing Parliament as part of his state visit to Ghana.
Ghana is known as the land of gold, not just for what lies under your soil, but as much for the warmth and strength in your heart. When we look at Ghana, we see a nation that shines with courage, that rises above history, that meets every challenge with dignity and grace. Your commitment to democratic ideals and inclusive progress truly makes Ghana a beacon of inspiration for the entire African continent. Friends, last evening was a deeply moving experience. Receiving your national award from my dear friend, President Mahama, is an honor. I will always cherish that. इस सम्मान के लिए मैं 140 करोड़ भारतीयों की तरफ से घाना के लोगों का आभार व्यक्त करता हूं। On behalf of the 1.4 billion people of India, I thank the people of Ghana for this honor. I dedicate it to the enduring friendship and shared values that bind India and Ghana.
Let's move away from this to some pressing matters, because the Electoral Commission, as you know already, has announced a rerun of elections to be conducted in 19 polling stations out of the 37 outstanding in Ablekuma North constituency. The election expected to be held on July 11, but the opposition New Patriotic Party says it rejects the EC's decision. Meanwhile, ahead of the rerun, the governing NDC has already begun its campaign to win the seat. Here's a News Desk report.
The Electoral Commission's decision to rerun parliamentary elections at 19 polling stations in the Ablekuma North constituency on July 11 is seen as a compromise to resolve months of electoral uncertainty and tension. This follows a series of legal and political contentions surrounding the 2024 parliamentary results, which left the constituency without a representative in the 9th Parliament. A visit to the constituency revealed a generally calm atmosphere, with many residents appearing indifferent to the upcoming votes. Despite the political stakes, there was little visible public activity in anticipation of the rerun. Meanwhile, the National Democratic Congress (NDC) is regrouping. Constituency executives are currently locked in a strategic meeting aimed at devising a winning plan to overturn what has traditionally been a New Patriotic Party stronghold.
The margin that I'm telling you that we people, the margin is huge. Now they are dragging with small margin. That tells you that there is no stronghold in Ablekuma North now. And I'm saying it again. From this time, we are going to win this seat.
According to one of the party's leading figures in the constituency, the NDC's campaign to clinch the seat for the parliamentary candidate, Arabina Orban, is already underway and gaining momentum. Other NDC supporters have called for unity within the party to resolve lingering disagreements among constituency executives ahead of the polls.
NDC, the party know, the people believe for NDC party is not a small thing, because this time everybody puts for a man for the NDC. But I'm so, if God permit this seat no, NDC take them already.
The current vacuum in representation has heightened the urgency of the rerun. Ablekuma North remains without a member of parliament 7 months into the current parliamentary session, raising concerns among constituents about the absence of legislative advocacy on their behalf. The NPP's Ekwe Afriye, who previously held the seat, remains resolute in her bid to retain it. Her camp believes that the constituency's voting pattern favors continuity, and the rerun will only reaffirm their electoral advantage. The July 11 rerun in Ablekuma North is more than a procedural electoral exercise. It is a litmus test for democratic accountability and political legitimacy in Ghana's electoral landscape. For voters, it presents an opportunity to restore their voice in parliament. For political parties, especially the NDC and MPP, it is a final battleground to assert dominance in a constituency that has become symbolic of Ghana's contested democratic processes. As campaigns intensify and the nation watches, the hope is that the rerun will be peaceful and reflective of the true will of the people. Stanley Nibleu, TV3 News, Ablekuma North.
Stanley Nibleu with that report. We're going on to Zoom. Dr. Samuel Afriye is a political analyst. My colleague Joseph Armstrong Gold as well is in Ablekuma North for us this afternoon. But we're going to make a first stop at the NPP's headquarters because their General Secretary has been addressing a news conference where they, amongst many other things, appealing to the EC to stand firm on its ground to proceed and declare the election results without a rerun, also hinting of the fact that they will not be a part of the processes. Let's hear from the General Secretary of the NPP, Justin Kodia-Frimpong, as he addressed the media a short while ago.
We in the NPP shall stop at nothing in our quest to ensure that the powers that must be respected and upheld by the democratic rights and sovereignty of the good people of Ablekuma North, as expressed by them on 7th of December 2024, is upheld. And therefore, we have caused our legal directorate to challenge the Electoral Commission in court. And today, we shall file in court to challenge the arbitrary, the capricious, the whimsical directing by the Electoral Commission in court. And it is our prayer that in spite of the intimidation and victimization of our judges, we will get a good judge who will be firm and speak for the truth. And when the truth speaks, certainly we will be vindicated. And our candidate will be declared the winner of Ablekuma North. Thank you very much.
Justin Frimpong Kodia is General Secretary of the NPP. Let's go straight first off to Ablekuma North and touch base with Joseph Armstrong Gold. Armstrong, we're hearing the NPP saying they will not be a part of it. They are going to challenge the EC's decision to conduct this rerun in these 19 polling stations. How are residents reacting to all of this and how it's playing out today?
Marona, I got here earlier this morning, and when I got here, I saw some MPP electorates moving from door to door campaigning. So after the press conference by the NPP General Secretary, I came back to the same people and asked them if they've heard the news. They said they are following what is happening at the NPP headquarters. So they stand with what their party leadership says. If they say they shouldn't vote, then they are backing down on the door-to-door campaign that they are doing. However, the NDC is still moving from house to house campaigning here because they believe that as long as this place is a stronghold of the NPP, anything can happen. Hence, they are not going to take chances. So they have been moving from door to door. Yesterday, I was here as late as 11 p.m., and the NDC was still moving from door to door as late as 11 to 12 a.m. last night. And this morning, they are continuing. The NPP joined them this morning. Unfortunately, the guys that were moving from house to house to get their supporters to come on board to help with the campaign are back down now, and they even moved me from where they were gathered because they are no more interested in the campaign due to what the General Secretary has said.
Right, Armstrong, thank you very much for all those updates. Let's get onto the other line on Zoom. Dr. Samuel Afriye is a political analyst. He's joined us as well. Doc, thank you. what is playing out? The NPP says they will not be a part of the process. They are going ahead to court to challenge it, and by close of day today, we should expect that their legal team would have found processes. What do you make of it, even before we go into the election proper and whether or not this will prove a test of some sort for either of the parties? Well, it does appear we may have lost Dr. Samuel Afriyie on Zoom, but we will try and establish connections with him again. But let's try and walk you through again these 19 polling stations which the Electoral Commission makes us understand will all be going back to the polls come July 11 and get an understanding really of what the situation is. We're going to run you through that data right now this afternoon. And amongst many other things, we know it's 19 polling stations, and we'll try and walk you through the names of these polling stations where we're expecting the elections to take place, and then we'll return to Dr. Samuel Afriyie. And so we know that there's the God First International School at Dakuman. That's expected to have one polling station. It's at Nyamiche. And then there's the Pentecost Church Mount Zion Assembly in Kwashiman, DVLA office Awoshi Adamami. It's an area I know quite well. Asiedu Jedu Memorial School, Awoshi as well. Then there is the Living Spring Day Nursery, Kwashibu. The Lord's Pentecostal Church, Kwashibu. Methodist Church, Odoko. Then the St. John the Baptist Catholic Church, also at Odoko. Radiant Way Preparatory School, North Odoko. That's expected to have 2 polling stations. Ateko School Complex, Odoko, South Odoko 4 and 5 School, and then the Pentecost Church, Treneboa. There's a Light of Gospel Miracle Chapel, Treneboa, MTTD Odoko Divisional Station, an area I know quite well as well, and Roman Catholic Church, Buzia Junction, Odoko, and then Bethel Baptist Church, Sakaman. And then lastly, Presby Church Odoko, Church of Pentecost North Odoko, Church of Pentecost North as well. And so 2 polling stations in that area. Let's get back onto Zoom. Hopefully the connection to Dr. Samuel Afriyie is better. Doc, I was asking what you made of the latest we're hearing from the opposition NPP that they will not be a part of this process. They are going to court, amongst many other things, to challenge the EC's decision to hold a rerun in these 19 polling stations.
Yes, well, thank you very much, and greetings to your viewers. You know what? Sorry, I wasn't much surprised when the MPP tried to stop the process.
Doc, let me allow you to clear your throat, and then we can have that conversation proper. That's Dr. Samuel Afriyie just going to settle himself properly, and then we can have the conversation. Doc, we can return to you now and then make that point as to the latest we're getting from the NPP.
Yes, and sorry for that. You know, I wasn't surprised about the MPP because they have not been agreeing to what the Electoral Commission and also what the NDC is saying for all this while. So I said, I think in the morning, I made it that the MPP will try to use the legal means to injunct the process. And I think that is what is going on. So for the MPP, it's not surprising, and that is how things will go on as it is. But, you know, it's quite unfortunate that the EC tends to move into that perspective where they tend to delay this process and also not having a copy due to what they are talking about, security breaches. And that is quite unfortunate. And I think EC need to put their game together to ensure some of these things. So the MPP is not a new issue. They will injunct it and try to seek the legal process to stop what the EC has planned.
But even let's stay on the elections proper. Should the NPP not have hinted of this decision not to be a part of it and challenge it, what will be the weight of this election, this rerun in these 19 polling stations? It won't tip the balance of power in Parliament in any way. So what really will that have constituted? How symbolic would it have been for either of the parties going into this rerun and winning?
You know, when you look at the Ablekuma constituency, all this while, I think it's only 1992 that the NDC had the seat. And all this while, the MPP has been winning the seat with, I think, below 75% margin all this while. So the NDC see it as an opportunity, looking at the figures, getting a close margin to win the seat. And also the MPP also want to prove that it's also their stronghold. And that is what is bringing this back and forth for the constituency declaration of the results. At the same time, it also will indicate the 6 months of the NDC, whether people tend to agree to what President Mahama is doing, whether they to confirm. And if the NDC also take the seat, it just presupposes what the 2024 elections, what the people of Ghana made it a point to give it to the NDC to show the numbers. The numbers, there will not be any much, but here he's talking about who is taking control of the country in terms of policies, that's for the NDC. At the same time, the MPP will also be looking at how the party is trying to recover from the elections. At the same time, whether now they have put themselves together to able to look at what is ahead for the party. So here, that is where the parties want to look at, they want to fight for. And whatever being the case, each of the two parties will build a case out of it to determine their strength and also their power within that constituency. And that is what might be at stake.
Doc, just finally on the NPP's resistance and the fact that they do not want to be a part of this process, how much does it say about the party's cohesion? We know that they are headed into a presidential primary. There are concerns of possible divisions in their rank and file. How much of coming together to want to fight what they believe is injustice will best serve their interest?
You know, it also will serve as the internal, the internal wranglings will also, the constituency election, that's the Ablekuma constituency elections, will also determine whether the party is together or not. At the same time, it also puts the national executive also whether they have the capacity to able to determine that the seat belongs to the party or not. And you know, as this competition moves along within the party, they will use these as a case study as against each other in terms of the presidential and also to the executive, because some of them will be coming for positions for them to be elected to this, that is the national level. So it also will serve as a measure or a metrics for the parties, that is the MPP within the internal elections. It will also be used as a case for them to determine some people positions and also to determine how the party is building themselves for that is a January 2026 internal elections for their presidential candidates.
Right, Doc, we'll leave it here. I'm sure we'll come back to you again as we continue to watch the space and really see by close of day whether the NPP does file those processes challenging the Electoral Commission's decision to proceed with the election. You're still here with us on News Central. We're going for our very first break. When we return, we have a bit more stories for you. Please do stay tuned in.
Why
Welcome back. Now, founding member of the opposition New Patriotic Party, Togbi Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo, is asking the Ghana Armed Forces to send soldiers to the forest to deal with the current menace of illegal mining. His comment follows an investigative piece by TV3 that shows that food items from Galamsey areas are laced with heavy metals above permitted levels. Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo spoke to Beatrice Sejo.
This country are the kingpins, and they know them. Why they can't go after them is a big problem. The ordinary person in the village cannot afford an excavator. You know the price of one excavator? Those who bring in the excavators are those they should hold responsible. And this is a work of national security. For years, 8 years plus, we have national security who were just chasing citizens. This is their work. There are kingpins behind. The moment you get hold of them, this nonsense will stop. And I have said time and again, the first thing that should be done now is to declare state of emergency. You can't do anything without that. In areas that have been affected or in areas where this destructive operation is going on, you declare state of emergency, get the soldiers involved. That's why the soldiers are there. Put 2 battalions there. 2 battalions will stop this. I've said about it a year and a half ago, and I'm repeating it. That is their way. Put 2 battalions, infantry battalion there, and let them flush the whole area.
Doc, I'm happy that you're a military man yourself. You trained as a soldier, and the concern is that soldiers are trained to kill. So when you send them to the bush, they'll kill people. Is that what you want?
Listen, those in the villages or those kingpins who have been making their money, the innocent people they have been killing. What do you think about that? The work of a soldier is to act on orders. If it's killing that will solve that problem, they will kill. All you tell them is that flush out anything you see in the forest.
Now, President of the National House of Chiefs, Ojia Hoho Yao JB II has supported calls for the public naming and shaming of individuals involved in illegal mining, including traditional leaders. He declared the lack of access to clean water in communities within Galamsey affected areas, calling it a national crisis that demands urgent and collective action.
Speaking at the launch of the 6th edition of the Ghana Investment and Trade Week Summit, Ojiahoho Yao Chibi II expressed concern over the environmental devastation caused by illegal mining known locally as Galamsey and its ripple effects on livelihoods and public health. He lamented a sharp rise in the price of bottled water, linking it to the widespread pollution of water bodies, while calling for the naming and shaming of personalities involved, including members of the NDC.
Concerned about selling their homes. What about our forests? These forests were created in 1929, and even the local people were not allowed to go there to collect snails. But now we are giving this out for people to go and do illegal, irresponsible mining. Right now, the price of bottled water is rising. Why? Because in the villages, they don't get clean water to drink again. So they all come to compete with us. And if a child is taking only 1 bottle of 500 milligrams a day, what will be the effect on the kidney?
Have a quick chat on the back of this. Awula Sewa is the coordinator of Eco-Conscious Citizens. She's joining us for a quick conversation on the back of this. Good afternoon to you. But I do want to start off with the evidence that we've been able to gather about the presence of heavy metals in the food in these Galamsey areas. I mean, we've always suspected us to have the evidence to back it. How does that come to you?
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me. To be fair, we've had the evidence for a while. We've been saying over and over again that we face an existential threat, that our water bodies are being poisoned, that our food is being poisoned, and the authorities chose to take no notice. So it's nothing new. We are aware of this. We are being poisoned. I think, was it last year, some foodstuffs were taken to the US and found to contain mercury. So this is not new. We have known for a while.
I see. And then perhaps at this point, we could also say that seeing these metals could also be traced to the deformities we see in these communities. How widespread are these deformities based on the work that you have done?
You see, even the Poison for Gold documentary, we saw that in the illegal mining belt, there was a rise in kidney disease, there was the rise in maternal deaths and deformed babies. And in fact, I was speaking to a pathologist, and he was saying that a while back, when people came with kidney disease, they were in their 50s. Now you find teenagers, children coming with kidney disease. And that is why we have asked for a state of emergency. And it's just very pathetic that the government is dragging its feet. The past administration didn't do it. We say we are resetting, but we have still not done it. We need a targeted state of emergency to go to the hotspot, to remove the, I call them environmental terrorists, remove them, remove their equipment, and begin to restore some sanity. As has already been said, I need not go over it. Our army is well trained. We have the professionals. We give them strict terms of reference. There's no political interference, and they will solve this problem. Why we refuse to declare states of emergency, in my view, is most irresponsible when we know that the poisoning is taking place, the ecocide is taking place, and certain areas are becoming no-go areas. Every day we delay, it's a day more to give the environmental terrorists more time to be fully armed. We don't want to descend to some parts of Latin America where the drug cartels control certain areas. In this case, it will be the illegal miners. The time to act was yesterday. The next best time is now. We must declare a targeted state of emergency. Give our professionals clear terms of reference. We have our armed forces, we have the Navy, we have the Air Force, and we remove the environmental terrorists. If we don't do that, we will sink. The whole of Ghana will be destroyed.
I see. Should people, in cities far away from these Galamsey areas feel immune from the impact we are seeing directly on our food items?
You see, if you are immune, first of all, it means that you don't understand what is going on. First of all, if you have some Christian charity, what is going on and affecting your brother, if you have any Christian charity, you should be concerned about. But you see, we all eat food. Do we know where our food is coming from? If you've had some consumer, do you know where it's coming from? Your cassava, your tubers. I've just finished saying that even people in the diaspora, once they get food from Ghana, they'll not be immune to what is going on. So we are all affected. The water we are drinking, Ghana water does not remove the toxins from the water. So even though the water may be clear, it doesn't mean it doesn't contain mercury, arsenic, cyanide. They are colorless. So Ghanaians need to wake up. They need to wake up and begin to be concerned. You should be concerned even if it doesn't affect you directly. But trust me, it's affecting all of us so long as we are eating foods which are grown in Ghana.
I see. I mean, but what action could these communities, what action, in its extended form, can the Ghanaian people take now to ensure that, listen, the people who come into our communities to defile the earth stop?
See, in the run-up to the elections, Ghanaians were becoming very concerned about what was going on. And that is why even organized labor was going to declare a strike if the government didn't take certain steps. I don't know what has happened, but once Ghanaians are angry enough at being poisoned, they don't want to sit idly by whilst they are being poisoned, because you may think, oh, I'm buying bottled water where there's reverse osmosis. What about the food you are eating? Every Ghanaian can decide to either hit the streets or make it clear to the government that if you don't declare a state of emergency, then there's going to be action we are going to take. But as it is, the population seems to be just sitting down, allowing themselves to be poisoned. We need to take action and encourage the government. And we can't find any reason why the government refuses to declare a state of emergency, why the government refuses to revoke LI 2462, which allows mining in forest reserves, and even revoke EI 144, which declassifies parts of Achimota Forest. We're promised a reset, and we're promised that there'll be a state of emergency, there'll be a revocation of LI 2462. That hasn't happened. Is it that the government is not concerned about its citizens being poisoned? When it came to the e-levy and to the betting tax, which do not pose an existential threat, government has been true to its word and has revoked them. We are appealing to government to have some concern for its citizens and declare a state of emergency before it is too late. face an ecological catastrophe. Yesterday, there were posts on Facebook, the Draw River Forest Reserve. Illegal miners are destroying the forest reserve, and the young people who were filming what was taking place, surprisingly, they were arrested. And my information is that the illegal miners were left to continue, which reminds me of what happened in Atronsu. So we don't understand what is going on, and the government must act if they have the interests of Ghanaians at heart.
We'll leave it here. Thank you so much for talking to us. Awula Sewa is coordinator of Eco-Conscious Citizens. She's also an advocate for anti-Galamsey.
Important subjects there, Galamsey, but we'll move away from that. Energy expert and former CEO of the Volta River Authority, Dr. Charles Rekubrobe, has asked the minority leader Alexander Penyumakin to account for his stewardship as former board chair of ECG that led the company to incur a lot of debt instead of criticizing the 1 cedi levy on petroleum product. His comment comes as a GRA announces that the levy will take effect from the 16th of this month, and the minority criticizing it. In an exclusive interview with my colleague Beatrice Idu, Dr. Rekubrobe said the minority has no right to talk now because members created the problems Ghana is currently facing in the power sector.
The minority in Parliament, I think, should shut up because the problems we are facing are largely due to the minority's failure to act or act irresponsibly when they were in government. All that is happening in Parliament is an attempt to try and relitigate election 2024 and try to give the impression that everything that is being done successfully under Mahama either started from MPP or was due to some things that we are not convinced about.
Is it how, for instance, the minority leader has been behaving in Parliament a lot of the time, challenging, for instance, Deputy Speaker Hiafo and the others?
The only thing I'll ask the minority leader is that he should account for his stewardship of ECG in 2023-2024. If he's able to account for the huge losses that ECG incurred under his stewardship, we may begin to listen to him.
To ask governments to hold all those who mismanage the power sector to pay the extra wastage instead of Ghanaians.
The irresponsible management of ECG, which have brought in tremendous debts over the last 2 years of 2023 and 2024, that mismanagement should not be charged to the tariffs, but it should be charged to those who are responsible for mismanaging ECG and superintending over the ECG over the last 2 years. And we know who were the ones who are superintending over ECG, who are now pretending to let us know what is the right thing to do. If you want to know who superintended over ECG, I think you better go and find out. Whatever cost is used or is needed to generate power, that cost should be charged to the power tariff.
And Ghanaians should not be made to pay the 1 cedi levy?
Yes, that instead of paying 1 cedi on petroleum, whatever charge is necessary to buy the petrol should be charged as part of the power tariff. Because, you see, Ghanaians are not stupid. There are enough intelligent people to realize that if you compute and look at what has happened in the last quarter, then if you use the major measures, the power tariff should be going down instead of going up. There should be no increase at all because the fundamentals which have made government able to reduce petrol price, the control on inflation, the control on exchange rates. Those are two of the major factors which also affect the increase or decrease in power tariffs. So as long as we need an input to produce power, that input, the cost of that input must be charged to the power tariff. And we should not think that everything in this country that requires some assistance or some money has to be just go to increase petrol prices.
Well, it's been a while we heard from Dr. Rekobro. It's good to hear him.
Yeah, good to hear him. Radio I, one of the foremost individuals who led the way in terms of
private
broadcast in this country. Also an energy expert as well. His 2 cents on the D-levy.
Which takes effect July 16th.
Yeah. So I think yesterday we were seeking to understand what the price ranges of fuel could be, but it's still early days just as yet to know how much
it will be at the
prices
pump, right?
Would be. But
we've been told a few times that there won't be any difference in pump price.
It's not expected to be significant because prices on the global market in terms of crude have returned, but we'll check that and then we'll bring viewers
we'll see how that goes.
Predictions as to how much possibly you'll be paying at the pumps. But that's our bulletin for you this afternoon. Tomorrow is a holiday, by the way.
But we'll be here.
We always are.
It's the very first of its kind, right?
Yes,
having the holiday pushed back.
Pushed away, and then to extend the weekend for a lot of people who will not be working. But
and make us more productive.
Yeah, anyways, we have to run. I am Awin Agbeta.
And I am Kemeni Amano. We'll see you same time tomorrow. Bye-bye.